What's good? This is Trey, and in this video, I'm gonna give you some tips on how to create a style that is attractive to a woman that turns women on. Um, how to create that style for yourself. Kind of give you some tips on how I created my style and how you can go about creating your own style that turns women on, that's attractive, right? So the way how I got to the style that I have right now, right? I could have went in any direction as far as style. I went this direction, and I'll tell you why. Right? Growing up, the first uh, style or archetype that I went for was like the rapper hip hop style, right? Because growing up, that I used to listen to hip hop, used to listen to rap. I used to watch music videos of rappers, and I remember that I thought rappers were cool. And I also remember that you watch the music videos, you watch how they carry themselves, they got women, right? Rappers were hot, rappers were attractive, rappers were sexy. And in school, girls were into that too. I remember they were into rappers, they would talk about them and they would, right? So I would dress like that and I would get attention because of that. I remember that. You know what I mean? Because that was what was hot. That's where energy was going towards that direction, right? People actually put their attention in that direction. So if you could leverage that somehow, why not? So I used to do that. I used to dress like a rapper, just like hip hop would get attention. I had no game back then, so I didn't capitalize too much. Like a lot of the times, I remember the girl would do most of the work. Anytime something would go down, but whatever, right? So, but the point is, that was a archetype, that was a style, a clothing style, a way to dress that was attractive to women. And it made sense for me because rappers, right? A lot of rappers, a lot of hip hop guys, I kind of fit in that, right? I'm a black kid. Um, I was tall, dark skin. Um, I kind of had that vibe, you know what I mean? Like, kind of carried myself a certain way where it would make sense to go that route, right? Even back then I had the intelligence to know what would make sense, right? Because if it's incongruent, if it doesn't make sense, if you're trying too hard or you're being a poser or whatever, that's not gonna attract women. That's gonna repel them. That's gonna make them think that there's something wrong with you, right? So you got to make sure the archetype you're going for makes sense, that is congruent, right? But it needs to be sexy, it needs to be hot, it needs to be attractive, right? So I would dress like that. I would wear the baggy pants, I wear the baggy clothes, whatever. I wear a chain, and it worked as far as getting women's attention or girls' attention back then. From there, graduating high school, I pursued entrepreneurship and I started wearing suits. That was a new archetype, a new style that I went into. But even then I was aware I wasn't doing it so much for women, but I was aware that that was an attractive archetype, that was an attractive style, way of dressing that women found attractive. So because of that, I used to get attention for the way I was dressing from women, right? I would approach women back then too, and I would get good responses, and part of it would be because I looked good, right? I looked like an archetype that women go for, right? So if you want to turn women on, you have to look at the kinds of guys that are turning women on and look at their style, right? They have style, like they have a way of dressing, they have a way of carrying themselves, a way of looking, right? The way they present themselves, and you can create that within yourself. You can create that somehow, but you have to go in a route that makes sense. Like go look at something that you could actually create, right? Like I'm not gonna try and be a cowboy, right? A lot of women go for the cowboy look. Like that's a sexy archetype that women go for. I'm not gonna go that route because that's incongruent for me, right? I'm not gonna try to be a rocker. That's incongruent for me, right? Some girls like the goth look. I'm not gonna go that route. It's incongruent. I'm gonna go the route that makes sense for me, right? So the style that I have right now, you know, it's like a combination of the styles that I went through, through my evolution, right? The hip hop, the business, from the business style, it was suits, You know, I would wear suits. I wear 3-piece suits. I wear a tie, all of that. And then, you know, I live in Orlando, Florida, so it would get too hot. So I went from suits to just wearing button downs, long sleeve button downs. And now I just wear, you know, I basically got to a point where I'm like, okay, I realized that if you create a nice physique, like you get in great shape, you almost anything you wear is gonna look good as long as it's fitted, right? So that's kind of my style now. I just wear fitted clothing, and I will add flair sometimes, or sometimes I'll be more laid back or whatever. Sometimes I might I might go back to some of these archetypes and mix them up, right? I might pull out a button down and roll up the sleeves as you see here, and just create a different look, right? And I can wear it comfortably because I went through that phase where I was wearing button downs. Now, you know, it's just a little different. It's a little more casual. It's a little more chill, but it's still a vibe, right? And I created this archetype from my past experiences. I would look at, you know, like even when I was wearing the hip hop clothes, I didn't just say, "Oh, hip hop looks cool." Hip hop style looks cool. I would look at the rappers that I thought were doing it the best, right? I look at the rappers that I thought looked good, looked the best, that were getting the most success and we're getting women and stuff, and I would tailor my look based on that. Same thing with businessmen. I would look at businessmen that I thought looked good, and that I saw were getting women, that I saw were successful, and I would create my look based on that. I would create my own version of it, but it would be based on what I was seeing that was getting results, that was successful. Same thing now. My style more, I'm gonna be honest with you, I understand style, but I don't go crazy with it now because I have gotten to the point where I'm more about, you know, the inner game, which is like your confidence, your state of mind, stuff like that. But I still look good though. I still make sure I look good style wise, because why wouldn't I, right? I remember all the attention it got me even when I had no game, right? So why would I stop doing something that was working? You know, continue to look good, continue to dress nicely, right? Accessories are great too. Like, look, I'm wearing accessories. I got rings on. I got watch, bracelet, chain, earrings, right? Find the looks that work with you. Like these things that I have on, they're not inconvenient or annoying or anything like that. I won't do something that I don't want to do, right? So like, don't try to be a style or go create an archetype that you don't think is cool or that you don't want to do, right? And don't get it twisted. It's not, you do have to become comfortable, right? So you have to make your mind up and then you go into it, right? So for example, when I started dressing like a businessman wearing the suits, that was uncomfortable at first, but after a few days dressing in a suit, it was no big deal, right? After a couple of days, so the first couple, you know, maybe the first 2-3 days is gonna feel a little awkward if you haven't been dressed in a certain way. After a couple of days, you got to commit to it. You just got to know, look, this is an attractive style. It looks better than how I looked before. I'm going to just commit to it. I'm going to make it work, right? And I'm going to get to a point where I'm comfortable wearing these clothes. So like whatever style I'm wearing now, I'm comfortable, but I had to work my way up, right? But it starts by deciding I want to look good. I want to walk into some place and I want women to actually be like, hey, he's kind of cute, or he's kind of hot, or whatever. I don't want to walk in and nobody notices, right? That if you want to be attractive, you cannot fit in. You cannot be average. You cannot be regular. You can't be any of that shit. You have to actually have something about you that is cool, something about you that's unique. Like there has to be a reason why she's choosing you over the other guy. For me, it makes sense to hit as many senses as I can, right? So, you know, touch, taste, smell, hear, probably missing something else, I don't know. But point is, you want to hit all the senses, right? And so, sights, what she sees, you want to hit that the best that you can. Why not, right? It's not the way how I dress is not like expensive or anything. Like you can go to H&M, you can go Express. You can wait for Express when they have their 50% off. You know, you can go on Amazon. You can find some stuff on Amazon. Just make sure what you're wearing is fitted, right? And look at Find like celebrities, find successful people that have style and an archetype that you think you can create, and go in that direction and start working towards it. You gotta find your groove. You gotta find what works for you. It's gonna take some time, trial and error. But once you figure it out, then you're gonna have a new confidence. You're gonna start getting compliments. Women are gonna start noticing you more, and then you'll have another element to your game, right? Maybe you have the talk game. Maybe you have something going on. Add another element. Now work on your style, right? Work on the way you look to a woman. Maybe your style is already good. How can you improve it, right? Maybe start wearing cologne. That's another one that I should mention. Is like get a quality cologne, right? That people can remember your smell, right? You have like a signature smell. You know what I mean? Just everything adds up. Everything adds up into what makes a man attractive. All these little things add up. It's not just one thing you do. Get your style right and you get all the women. No, that's just one of the elements that and there's a variety of different elements that you can have that will make you attractive as a man. All right, so I hope this video is helpful. Hope it made sense, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching. Peace.